Hi there. Welcome to the next part of the series where we create Fiverr inside WordPress purely relying on Elementor and JetEngine. Up until now, we have done so many things, and those are all related to gigs, account creation, gig management, and everything. From starting to create an account as a freelancer to coming here and have a seller dashboard where you can see all of your gigs. They can be edited, they can be customized, and the gigs appear on the front end. And then each gig has their own single page, or let's say single page view. They can have different prices and everything. So that's all done. Now the complicated part of this whole process is that you want to make sure that all of this appears properly, but the orders needs to be processed as well. And if the orders cannot be processed, this whole platform is like meaningless. There's no point of it. If you cannot accept orders from buyers on this platform, then there's no point of it. Now there are multiple ways to execute this, but since we had this pledge that we need to be completely relying on using Elementor with JetEngine, and we don't need to rely on custom code, and at the same time we won't be going off the track with using any third-party plugins such as WooCommerce, which is a complete suite of tools that enables buying and selling on your WordPress website. But that's not our goal, because WooCommerce is a completely different plugin. And here what we are going to focus is that we are completely relying on Elementor, JetEngine, and maybe the crocoblock suite. So what happens is that right now, if you remember, we had the order CPT as well. We had created the CPTs, and we had a couple of relations in between as well. If you can see inside relations, we had one relation created by the name of order to gig, and the other one was users to gig. So now we are going to leverage all of those things which we have created in the past. We are going to create a new form, and that is going to help us place orders on the gigs we have on our platform. And the process will be a little bit complicated and confusing, even for me as well, because this is something that I haven't, or someone else haven't done before. So the combination of everything will have a little bit of complication, but we'll figure it out on our way. So the first thing is that we are not using WooCommerce or any sort of that plugin that gives us the ready-made functionality, because it is a very different plugin from what we are intending to use. So what we are going to rely on is that we are going to rely on Jet Form Builder, and this Jet Form Builder is going to help us integrate our buying and selling, let's say processing order system right inside our current tech stack. So the first thing is that let's go ahead and create a new form, and the form name should be that place order form, or something that is kind of easy to read or remember. The name is gig order form, and from what I'm going to do is click on create start from scratch. Now here we'll have to do something. The thing is that I'll have to go ahead and go to the dashboard, and inside the dashboard we can see here that we do have like existing CPT by the name of orders. And if we go ahead to the meta boxes, where we can see like the custom fields for any of the CPT we have in the system, we can see how many fields and what sort of stuff is there. I just need to remind myself and clear up my memory. So what we have right now is which was the gig, order by, who's the buyer, who's the order seller, order status, order type, total price, requirements, payment status. Now I see that a couple of these fields won't be necessary, because our system is going to be a little bit different than what I have thought of. So what we are going to do is we are going to have it really simple and straightforward. So the first thing is that it's going to be requirements, sorry, gig pricing tier, and this is going to be radio field or selection field. We can choose either. So manage input, it should be something like basic, standard, and then there will be the premium one. That's good. The next thing is that let's keep it on the top. So the next thing here I'm gonna add is the requirements thing. Sorry, text area field. Yeah, this is going to be the requirements. Another we need to add two more fields, and that those should be hidden fields, because we need to track some sort of data as well. And the data should be like, for example, it should be the seller underscore ID. So what we are going to do is we are going to take the ID of the seller. Who's the seller? The one who has published this gig. So how do we do that? We have to here we have a couple of options, like in the field value. Here we need to select on the current post author ID. What this means is that whoever has published this post, obviously by by the definition, that has to be the seller. So the seller has created their account on the platform, they have published this existing post, or the gig. It could be any of this gig, and the author ID. So ID of that author should be the seller. It's how it is. And then the next thing it would be is that the next thing is would be buyer ID. So I'll add another header field, and it should be buyer ID. Right now I'm kind of imagining this in my mind, how it should supposed to work. Maybe there will be a little bit of changes in our implementation, or maybe we'll see a blocker, but this is how it's supposed to work. So right now, who's the buyer? Buyer is me. So it needs to be like current user ID. So the current user ID should be like, I'm the user, I'm placing an order right here, I'm the one, and that should be the ID. So that way, buyer ID and seller ID and buyer ID, that's how it's supposed to work. This has to be, instead of like place my order. Now, I've done really straightforward and simple thing, like gig pricing tier requirements, and and all that stuff. So the next thing here is that we need to work with the post submit actions. So the first thing is I'm going to work on the insert update post. This is going to help me create new orders whenever someone submits this form. So which post I'm going to create a new order in? It should be the orders. In the post status, it's subjective to your own requirements. Like, for example, if you are building such sort of platform or similar way, and you want that the post status shouldn't be directly published, it should be some sort of impending review, private, something like that. It's up to you. I'll keep it published, because since our work is like straightforward. Now here, the post ID, we don't need to match any post ID, because it would mean that we are updating an existing post. So we are going to keep that away. And the gig pricing tier, we can update this post meta, and we will have this thing order tier. This is the requirements, should be like post meta, and this should be, what's the, yeah, this is straightforward requirements. Perfect. Now we are leaving the seller ID and buyer ID. We can put it somewhere. We can still save it, but there's another use for that, and I'll show you in a bit. So the order seller, who's the seller? The seller is post meta. And who's the buyer? Buyer is obviously me, so I'll be adding this as well. Okay. Now these two fields I'm just doing for the sake of processing the data we might need in the future, but for now they are not needed. I'll click on update. Now that's one thing. The next thing is that if let's say I'm going to show you an example. I'll click on publish, and the next thing here I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the home page. I'll open up a gig, and inside that gig we are going to add this form, because this form is supposed to be inside a gig page, and that's how it's going to collect the data in the hidden fields, and it's going to further process it. So here I'm gonna go ahead to the single gig template, and inside here I'm gonna add this jet form which we just created for the placing a new order by the buyer. Now here I'll go ahead and search the widget. Now this is just a demonstration. It's not the final version, because I might add this whole form somewhere else, but this is how it is right now for the meantime. I'll choose the form, gig order form, and that's it. I can further style it, but that's not the point right now. I'll click on publish, and instead of having submit page reload, I'll choose Ajax, because I want to do it in real time. I don't want to wait for the whole page to refresh. So I'll click on refresh here, and once I do the refresh, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on standard, let's say, and I'm choosing like this is my first order. I'll click on place order, and you can see that I'll have a success message. It works, but there's a big problem. What's the problem? I'll show you. If I click on all orders, you can see here order number 280 has been created. But if I click on, let's say, open up this thing, and order buyer, order seller, I think I need to work, because the buyer and the seller, oh yeah, it's the same thing. I'm the order buyer, I'm the seller, so it's good. Now here the problem is that this order is not connected to anyone in any form at all. Like for example, the first thing is that I'm a buyer, so how do I view this order? That's not mentioned. There is nowhere right now that I can get this order to appear it or make it show in my seller buyer dashboard. Or if this order is being placed to a seller profile, there is nowhere that we can make the connection. So right now this is really like useless data which we are processing right now. So what we need to do in the next step is that right now I'm going to move this to refresh. The next thing here is that I'm going to add more actions, and the more actions is going to be connecting relation relation items. So if I click on this one here, what I'm going to do is I'll choose user to gigs. So parent ID should be like, for example, buyer ID. So we are going to connect this, and the child item ID should be inserted post ID. And update context should be like, for example, we are updating children items to the parent objects. It's all good. I click on update. Now let's add another one, and that is going to be for the second relation. This is going to be for the orders to gig. The first thing is going to be inserted orders, obviously, I guess so, if that works. The next thing should be the inserted post ID. Yes, yeah, I hope so this works. Context should be I click on save. Now if I go here, and requirements should be like, for example, I can choose anything, another order, and if I click on place my order, and we can see here that this is going to appear. Click on edit, and inside the edit, okay, it says children gigs, and the gig is not connected here. So I think that's somehow not working. Let's check the other thing, and that would be if I go ahead to the users, my own profile. What happens is that right now the order is connected to me, so I have placed the order, which is the order 282. So that the one relation works, the other one doesn't work. I'll have to work on that. Go ahead here. This is a little bit conflicting, is somehow, okay, I think this is a problem. So since it's going to be like order to gig, so what we are going to do is switch this to inserted post ID, and then the child item should be the post ID. That way it should work. I click on update, I'll click on save, and here I'm gonna place another order, and this is going to work. Basic third order. Hopefully this will work. I'm gonna show you. Yes, that's done. I'll go ahead to the orders again, and 284, I'll click on edit, and there we go. So that was the thing I wanted to achieve, and that's right now, children gigs. So this order is connected to this specific gig, right? And that's a good thing. So our buyer is also connected, this one is also connected, and the seller ID is also added here. So now after this, what we can do is we can manipulate the data and present it anywhere we want. So what's next? Now here you might think like, okay, this is really basic. What's so interesting about this? So here the potential is like, limitless. The first thing right now is that this order form is all we need to process orders. So from here we can add our payment system, whatever we need, and that way any user can simply place an order and paying right here, and it will work. The next thing here is that from my side is that I'm not going to implement payment system in this form right now, because we don't need that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually work on what should I say, account. I'll work on the seller dashboard, and here as a seller I should be able to see my orders, where I can easily see the buyer name, seller name, sorry, seller is me, so the buyer name, the title, and then whatever the requirements are, I can view all of those requirements and everything. So it's going to be all done here on the seller dashboard, and that's the goal, to put all of that data. And the data, as you can see here, it only says order 284. So all of that data needs to be processed further and manipulated inside Elementor, and the grid listing has to be created and all that stuff. So the next step is to put out all that data here on the seller dashboard and make it easy for the users on both end to see and work with them. And apart from that, we are going to upgrade our form from time to time and make sure that this form has all of those fields and all of the data points which we need to process our data, or let's say process data for our seller dashboard. So I'll see you in the next video. Up until that, I wish you have a great day ahead. Take care. Bye bye.